Hi there. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. This is our weekly show where we fill you in on 3 or 4 interesting tech topics in the news, the power of one person in this world. And we'll get you on your way in about 20 minutes. As always, if there's a story you want us to cover, creationstation@broward.org comes right to me. And today I have Miss Mari from Carver Ranch's library. How are you doing, Miss Mari?
The background, yay!
It's awesome. It's awesome. Hooray.
It's nice to be back. I love the show, and
Thank you.
I am excited for what we have in the lineup.
Yeah, there's some really interesting, fun stories. Tell us where Carver Ranch's is and what you guys do out there.
So we are very close to between the border of Broward County, the county line between Broward and Miami-Dade. We are a small but mighty library, and we are also between Carver Ranches and West Park. So we are excited to be growing programming that I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about at the end of this podcast. And we have a lot of fun things planned for 2024.
Oh, it's always fun. You always have cool stuff going on. Come on now. It is a great thing, but we have some sad news to get started with. All but one of these stories today were sent in by listeners, so thank you all very much for this. Ingenuity is no more. Ingenuity is retired. Now, if you don't know Ingenuity by now, from seeing all the miscellaneous shows over the years, Ingenuity is a small little helicopter that's up on Mars that was supposed to last for 2 to 5 different trips around the planet, so to speak, because it only flies for a short amount of time. It made it up to 72 flights before it finally just broke. Did you pay any attention to these as they were happening?
Yeah, actually, it's interesting because my brother works for NASA. So he keeps up with all these projects. He actually works with satellites that track weather, but anything that goes up, it's his business. So we were talking about this, and sometimes, equipment that goes up goes through so much. It's rough. And we don't know really what's going out up there. So sometimes it's meant to break, but it gives engineers and people at NASA an opportunity to check back in, going to the drawing board and see how they can build stronger, if I may. Equipment to go out there.
And it's really interesting. I mean, if this thing lasted so long, I put the picture up. You can see where the tips of the rotors broke off. And the reason it happened, and I've got a second story there for you also about all of the stuff that they've done with this. The reason it happened is it was flying over some sand dunes that were boring. It's used to finding rocks and craters and all this stuff, and it was flying over sand dunes that were just kind of flat and boring, and so it didn't know how to land properly because it didn't know what to avoid, and so it tipped on its landing and spiked the tips of its rotors into the sand, which was really sad. But that was amazing on everything that's going on. I'm showing some pictures of the next ones that NASA's trying to send up there. And as always, all of our putting in the show notes for you so you can follow and see these links and everything. It is amazing what they were able to pull off. And one of the things I didn't know was how much modern technology is in Ingenuity. And I know this sounds like an oxymoron because, wait, this is NASA. They're on Mars. But actually, most of the NASA components and stuff are very old components that they have tested and really done a lot of stress testing on. And they weigh a lot of pounds. And Ingenuity could only weigh ounces. The weirdest thing that Americans will use any kind of measurement at all. It weighs as much as 5 soup cans. I'm like, come on, people. But all of that stuff has to be packed into it. And so they used cell phone chips, the same cell phone, the same CPU chips that run our cell phones.
They're tiny.
Yeah. And those are the ones that are in this. I guess they still are in this, to run the whole thing. So there's actually more computing power in this little helicopter than in all of the other NASA missions combined.
That's incredible.
Voyager
It's
1,
like essentially like a
Voyager 2.
drone.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's got James Webb, all of those things all combined. It's just craziness how much is there.
And every time they launch something up there, regardless of how big, how small, even if to our eyes it's like a failure, oh my goodness, this happened, it's still not a failure because now they can go back and rebuild and learn from what happened. So it's celebrating the small wins every time something like this happens.
And this is a huge win. Like we said, they're hoping to get 5 flights, and it managed to get to 72. So yeah, they went way out and beyond on all of this. It's
Very
a
cool.
really, really great thing.
They're putting eyes out there, which is beneficial and
still the only planet that we know of fully inhabited by robots. But our other story is actually a really cool one for this planet of getting gasoline-powered bikes off the road and replacing them with e-bikes. And I really wish someone would do this here in the United States. And I mean, it's great. It's happening in 4 countries in Africa. And this is a great thing where you bring in an older motorbike. They will trade it in for you so that you get one of the new motorbikes with a battery pack. And then they help subsidize you with your battery pack because anytime you need a recharge, you can just show up at one of their stations. They yank the pack out and put in a fully charged one for you, and you keep going. There's not even a wait for charging.
I see that potentially happen. I mean, there's already e-bikes out there. I see people in e-bikes, and it's growing. At first, I didn't see many. My husband is in cycling, and he was telling me, "Oh, I might get you an e-bike because they're so cool." And lately, I'm seeing more and more people with e-bikes. So I see this potentially happening here in the US. And I really like how, yes, it's really good for the environment, but they're also helping people like having a charge. Like I was thinking of what are the logistics of, I mean, it sounds beautiful. It's a great idea. We want to find a good balance between humanity and the planet, but what are the implications and logistical efforts to actually make it happen? And the battery, when you mentioned the battery, that was one of my questions, like, okay, how are you going to really pull this off, and how are you going to help people transition? It's like the Tesla, like one of the things we heard, very cool, very trendy, but when it comes to charging, like my dad lives in Puerto Rico, and he's telling me all the time that he sees Teslas in the highway because people didn't charge them. So that was
they didn't pay attention.
Yeah,
you have to learn how to do your stuff. This company has done so well with they've burned through a lot of their pre-funding, where they bought all of these e-bikes to be able to swap for people, and now and do it for free, which is a key thing. That's why they got to 10,000 so fast, is because they swapped out. People didn't have to pay to swap their bike. You got the new bike for your old motorbike, and then you just pay it per charge for charging. And it's pathetically small. I think it was one of the charging stations was charging 20 cents US.
Wow. In comparison with gas, I mean, I don't know the gas cost over there, but
no, gas over there is just as expensive or more expensive than here. No. It's a great deal. That's why they ran out 10,000 so fast. This
is going to be good. This is one of those that we want to follow and see where it goes.
Where do they go? What happens with this?
How it changes society over there, like their employment and how people move around. I mean, this is huge. How technology can impact the day-to-day and the economy.
And making people's lives in general better. Because
if
you, instead of driving around the city on all these motorbikes spewing out all the fumes.
I see like India, like they're in India, they use a lot of motorbikes.
Argentina. Stories to tell you about going around in Bangkok,
Rome,
and in all the craziness that goes on with there.
I don't know if people in Rome will give up their Vespas, but they could make
them electric. No, Vespa has electric versions too.
Wow, I figured.
It is awesome.
Very cool.
There is another story that someone sent in to us that we had to include on the show because he was like, oh my God, look, this is the first thing. And I was very gentle with him. I'm like, well, no, it's the first one for this company. This is the 8th company that is doing this now out there in practice and doing stuff. This is a worldwide thing we've been working on for over a decade. But great, congratulations. I'm glad it's getting news because this is a very, very helpful thing. Because the idea that I never even said what it was. I apologize. So Neuralink is an implant that you put onto someone's brain. So it involves a lot of surgery, going through the skull, everything like that, and it takes the nerve impulses off of the brain directly and converts it into movement, so that you can do things like drive a keyboard or a mouse. Direct, I guess, is a better word than drive, or a wheelchair. There's a company that's in Europe that has done it. They've got 3 people so far who have learned how to drive their wheelchairs around just by thinking.
So Bob,
Yeah?
correct me if I'm wrong. Is this like a VR? But
No. This
I'm
is
trying to picture how will
so
this
this is like
look like?
about the size of like a quarter or so.
Mhm.
And it's a little flexible computer chip that gets implanted right on the surface of your brain. And then you learn which thoughts to have that will stimulate the chip the right way to go forward or turn left or turn right. It's really amazing.
This is
It's
sci-fi.
amazing technology. Oh, it's full sci-fi.
As a
Yeah.
librarian, actually, there is a book called The Last Quintista, The Last
Mhm.
Storyteller, and just a short story because
Yeah.
it's connecting so well with
Mhm.
that. Uh, Earth cannot be inhabitable. People
Yeah.
have to leave Earth. No more
Yeah.
Earth. And humans go in space, and in order to keep all the human history and information, they put all of that information in a ship, like a little
Yeah.
chip in the
Yep.
brain. So essentially, as humans leave to other planets, they keep all their information in their
Yeah.
head.
Offsite storage. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
Backup
just,
storage.
I mean,
Yep.
I read it in that book and seen that now it's moving on to real life.
Yeah.
What's happening? Oh my goodness.
This is going to be really, really great stuff. And I that's what I emailed the person. I was like, I'm going to put this on the show no matter what. It's not the first, but it's very, very cool. And everybody should be paying attention to this because this is another one of those going to change the world type stories.
Yeah, and I see when you were talking about feelings, and I was as I was reading it, um, there's a lot of like mental health issues that this could potentially touch on. I was seeing like the severe depression and
Uh-huh.
other conditions, but like in mental health,
Yeah.
how can this help people? I mean,
Being
there's
able to
so
express themselves. A lot of people with ALS, all those sorts of people who are able to finally express themselves again, which is a great thing.
wow, this is good. Yeah.
So, the other story that several people emailed me about.
I'm a Swiftie, so I'm excited about this one.
Good. So, it's not just a one story. There's 3 types of stories involved here. Plus, there was a Senate hearings yesterday afternoon that happened and all sorts of stuff in general. And these links are in the show notes so people can go follow them up on it.
You're talking about the social media?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So one thing was Taylor Swift's social media, the fiasco of someone taking AI, making inappropriate images of her and distributing it on X, on the former Twitter, and sharing those around was a bad thing. It should not happen to anyone. It shouldn't happen to her. It shouldn't happen to anyone.
And apparently the ex didn't even know this was going on until...
No, they knew what was going on.
Really?
That's the issue. Nothing hits. Yeah, no. It's that they didn't do anything about it because their safety program had been stripped down so tiny that they didn't have the ability to do something about it. And so their very basic way of handling this problem almost like 36, 48 hours later was to turn off being able to search for her name. which is obviously not a good way of handling things.
And has happened before with other people. Deepfake has been happening. I've seen like trailers of movies with like compare like this actor could do this. Look at that in deepfake. But the fact that it's Taylor Swift being such a huge person.
And that's right. And that's what brought out a lot of the notice to this. Whereas it has happened. And it's a horrible thing to happen to, unfortunately, primarily young girls, high school, middle school even, and young women in college. And it needs to stop. It's not an appropriate thing for anyone to do. And it is something that is hard to control at this point with the lack of legislation that Congress in the United States, at least, has done over some of these things. And I think one of the really glaring things that I noticed in some of the reporting of yesterday's hearings was they want to make it a crime to do this for celebrities. Why not for everybody?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't it be illegal to do it for everybody? Why are you doing it for celebrities?
Yeah. And I was expecting, when they said celebrities, I was expecting right there, and politicians, but they just said celebrities. But no, I agree. And it's becoming easier for anyone to do this. There's apps and there's no repercussions. So no one is accountable.
Well, that's actually the thing. The repercussions all came from Taylor Swift fans, which was one of the amazing things of why Twitter X had to deal with this in a more expedited fashion. Was they were swamping their network with different posts to hide or deflate the hashtags and the searching for the inappropriate ones. And when I say flood, I mean flood. It's not like, well, there's a couple thousand people causing a stir. There were 30 million people posting.
This is the kind of fandom that will bring down a ticket sale website.
Yeah. Wow. And thank you for that one, because that ticket sale website thing is exactly what the last story about her is on TikTok. This is not a direct Taylor Swift story, but they've mentioned her several times in here for two reasons. One, TikTok and UMG, Universal Music, is at a crossroads for licensing. And as of today, we're filming this on February 1st. So as of today, at this time, you cannot get Universal Music on TikTok. They've blocked all access to their music. So Drake, The Weeknd are all blocked. You can't use their music in your TikToks. You're going to have to go use other bands. Lots of arguments back and forth about why, what, the other. We could do a whole show just on this. But the reason I bring it up in as relation to this is as they say right here, they're taking down Taylor Swift from TikTok. But they're not. They're taking down Taylor's version, which is on Universal. The original songs, before she re-recorded them, are still up. So you, as a Swiftie, tell me, if you're on TikTok, do you love the idea of being able to show off Taylor Swift music so much you're willing to go with the old version that she doesn't want you to listen to, but you can use on TikTok? Or are you just not going to do Taylor Swift because the Taylor version's not on TikTok?
That's a conundrum. Especially understanding why she had to record her
another whole show just on that.
It's kind of like it becomes like an ethical thing. Like, you want to support her, and actually her versions are a lot better. I really like her new version. So I will actually think about it twice to use, knowing that is not her version. I respect her. I respect her work so much. But it's interesting, and this is actually, I was reading their issues with the piracy too. With people stealing the music, which has always happened, but apparently it's been huge with TikTok and with YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So I see this right now. We're talking about TikTok and certain artists being blocked, the music being blocked because of the parent company. But this might happen in other platforms like YouTube.
It does.
So,
It
yikes.
does. Yeah. No, 100%. So yeah, it is definitely a thing. But tell us, Mari, what's going on out there at Carver Ranches? Actually, let me throw up the link for you here on the screen. Here's some of the events going up for Black History Month that just started here in February.
Yeah. I really like the monthly view is also very helpful.
Yeah.
So you can see the entire month of February at the Carver Ranches if you scroll up. There is the listing. The listing I love as well. And the monthly view to the right side, you can see the entire month. And for listeners and viewers out there, you can filter it by location. And you can filter by audience, by type of programs. But I always recommend do by location first, so you can see everything. And as you can see, Carver Ranch is going to be busy. We have, as I joke, we have cooked a lot of good options for everyone. We have a little bit of everything for different ages, toddlers, preschool, adults, teens. We have chess, dominoes, story time. But yes, as Bob said, we're celebrating Black History Month, and we have a special take and make with crafts and activities. And we have...
Is that dominoes thing just for adults, or is that...
So the dominoes is an intergenerational. So it's everybody's welcome. The idea is we're trying to do programs because our community is literally very community. And we like, and when I say we, it's the community. We like to do programs together.
Yeah.
And the library's listening. This is based on the community surveys. And we're trying to do programs that everybody can enjoy. And we figured dominoes. I grew up playing dominoes in Puerto Rico, and it's very special. And it's one of those things that you learn from your elders.
This is why I asked if it was only for adults, because I have watched some of those games in Puerto Rico, and no, I would not want kids around there.
It's like in Miami, they have the Calle Ocho dominoes, and it's only for grown-ups, and there are rules in that place.
That's
but
crazy.
Growing up in the island, kids will play, and it became a thing of like a rite of passage. Like the grown-ups will teach the teens and the kids. So it's a generational cultural thing. And our community has been asking for us. So we were able to get the sets, and we're going to start this.
It's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait to stop by there and see that. Yeah.
Bring your family. And it's an opportunity for families to mingle, meet each other while doing something that we love. And it's culturally, that unites us. So that's the dominoes. And we're also going to have a Black History Month trivia. So
there's way too much. We gotta go. We're running over time because there's so many cool things happening there. It is amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Miss Mari. If there is a library or a librarian you want to see featured on the show, reach out. creationstation@broward.org. We'll see everybody next week.
See you next time.